Most backyard growers are stuck in the same losing cycle, breaking their backs over tomatoes and zucchini, hauling fertilizer, maybe netting a few $100 at the farmer's market if they're lucky. Meanwhile, a small group of backyard operators is quietly generating six figures, not from row after row of ordinary vegetables. From 8 specific crops, the average gardener has never considered planting. And the most incredible part, these aren't exotic experiments. They're proven, hardy, and in some cases shockingly simple to grow. The global market is paying $12 a pound, $150 a pound, even $500 a kilogram for them right now today. One micro farm in British Columbia already proved it. A 1-3-acre plot generating over $110,000 in annual sales. Not by growing more of what everyone else grows. By applying one ruthless filter, only grow what pays. If your backyard feels like an expensive hobby, this video is the blueprint to change that. Stay until the end. Crop number 7 requires no soil at all, produces year-round, and commands some of the highest prices per pound of anything you can legally grow in America. Let's get into it. Crop 1, saffron. The most expensive spice on earth, growing in your garden bed. Let's start with the crop that stops people cold the first time they hear the price. Saffron retails for $10 to $20 per gram. That's $3,500 to $6,000 per kilogram. Gold runs about $60 per gram. You are not misreading that. Gram for gram, saffron trades closer to precious metal than produce. It grows from a small autumn blooming bulb, fits perfectly in a backyard bed. Here's why it commands that price. Each flower produces exactly 3 tiny red stigmas, hand-picked every morning during a brief autumn window. 167 flowers to produce 1 gram. That bottleneck keeps industrial agriculture away. Large farms can't automate it. The market stays wide open for small plot growers like you. University of Vermont research puts a single 30 by 90-foot high tunnel at $19,259 in gross annual sales, threads, dried petals, and bulb sales combined. Ongoing costs after year 1 drop to roughly $4,455. That's a profit margin most vegetable growers would retire on. Requirements: 6 to 8 weeks below 50 degrees F to trigger flowering. Best in zones 6 through 9. Colder zones aren't locked out, high tunnels protect the corms, and some operators run refrigerator units to control temperature artificially. Plant 4 to 6 inches deep, 4 to 6 inches apart, in autumn. The corms multiply underground every year. Your density grows without additional seed cost. One caveat: saffron is a patience crop. The real payoff hits in year 2. If you need faster cash flow while your beds establish, the next crop delivers it. Crop 2, baby ginger. 5 times the price of supermarket ginger, ready in 4 months. Commodity ginger from China, $3 to $4 a pound. Baby ginger, immature, tender, with a thin pink skin and a bright floral heat, $7 to $25 a pound at a farmer's market. Same plant, different timing. Baby ginger is harvested at 4 to 6 months, before the rhizome toughens into the fibrous root on supermarket shelves. That shorter cycle fits a temperate season cleanly. Transplant in late April inside an unheated high tunnel, harvest August through October. The yield math: 1 pound of seed rhizome produces 10 pounds of harvestable ginger. At $7 a pound conservative, that's a $70 return on every dollar of seed cost. But here's the detail that separates profitable growers from disappointed ones: earthing up. Every 30 days after transplanting, ridge soil or compost around the base to cover the developing rhizome collar. Block the sunlight. Without it, the skin turns green and woody, and the premium pink color that commands top dollar disappears entirely. That one technique is the difference between a $7 per pound crop and a $3 per pound crop. Crop 3. Wild simulated ginseng. The long game that pays $300 to $600 per pound. This one requires a different mindset. Not every crop on this list is a quick flip. American ginseng is one of the most prized roots in global medicinal markets. Wild harvested roots are considered vastly superior to anything field cultivated, and that preference shows directly in the price. Field cultivated ginseng, $40 to $70 per pound. Wild simulated, $300 to $600 per pound. Same plant, grown differently. Wild simulated means exactly what it sounds like. You sow seeds into a natural forest understory, deciduous canopy, north or east-facing slope, and largely leave them alone. No shade cloth, no fungicide programs, no heavy machinery. The forest does the work. A well-managed plot can gross up to $200,000 per acre over 6 years. 6 years sounds long. Here's what most people miss. You don't wait 6 years with nothing to show. Ginseng seeds and young rootlets carry real market value. Small operators generate annual cash flow selling seeds and transplants to other growers while the primary root matures underground. The 6-year timeline becomes a 6-year compounding asset, not a 6-year wait. Crop 4. Specialty cut flowers and tubers. The 6-figure farm almost nobody is running. Here's a number that will reframe how you think about flowers. Lindsay Talby of Muddy Acres generated $287,272 in 2024, less than 1 acre, 1 hoop house, 1 part-time employee. Not from bouquets at the farmer's market. From a strategy most flower growers never discover until it's too late to execute. Stop thinking about flowers as stems. Start thinking about them as underground capital. Every dahlia produces tubers over the season. Every ranunculus produces corms. Every peony builds a root system. Most backyard growers cut them down in autumn, toss them in the compost, and wait for spring. 6-figure growers dig them up, divide them, and sell them. Dahlia tubers, $5 to $10 per tuber direct to consumer. Peony bare roots, $15 to $25 each. Ranunculus corms, $1 to $3 per corm, and a single mature plant produces a dividable cluster every season. Trademark's flower farm found that 50% of their total annual income came from just 2 crops, dahlias and ranunculus. Not 50 crops, 2 focal crops. Cut stem revenue and propagule revenue captured every year. The stem side is real money too. A 1,600 square foot plot generated $12,000 in its first year, equivalent to $325,000 per acre. Dahlias deliver stems at $5 to $7 each from mid-August through first frost. 10 to 12 weeks of continuous production from a single planting. The operational key: subscription revenue. Flower CSA programs, customers pay upfront before the season begins, give you working capital to buy spring inputs before a single stem is cut. You buy compost, corms, and bulbs with money already in your account. One caveat on peonies: 3-year establishment before maximum stem flushes. Plant them this season, not for this year's market, but for a perennial root system that compounds in value for the next 2 decades. Crop 5. Potted clumping bamboo. The nursery business, running quietly in suburban backyards. This one surprises people, not because bamboo is exotic, it isn't. Because the business model is so simple most people assume someone else is already doing it. They aren't, at least, not in your neighborhood. Landscapers and homeowners are in constant demand for fast-growing privacy screens. Bamboo is the answer they keep coming back to. A potted clumping bamboo plant costs a backyard operator roughly $2 to $4 to produce. It retails for $20 to $40. That's a 10x return on input cost, before a single dollar of labor overhead. No ground excavation. No heavy digging. No complex infrastructure. Propagate clumping varieties in containers, grow them to saleable size, move them directly to landscapers, homeowners, and garden centers who cannot keep them in stock. One distinction you must understand from day one: clumping varieties versus running varieties. Running bamboo, philostachys, spreads through underground rhizomes, escapes your property, and creates real liability with neighbors. Clumping varieties, Fargesia and Bambusa, expand slowly, stay contained, and present zero escape risk. The three varieties with the strongest combination of market demand, cold hardiness, and container performance: graceful bamboo, dragon's head, and Alphonse car. Container growing restricts ultimate height to roughly half to 3/4 of in-ground potential, which is actually a selling point. Homeowners want a privacy screen, not a towering grove. Halfway through, and if the numbers so far have surprised you, stay with me. Crop 7 changes the math entirely. No soil, every season, already running in garages and warehouses across the country, generating some of the highest returns per square foot on this entire list. Drop a yes in the comments if you're ready to see your backyard and your garage completely differently. Crop 6, specialty hardneck garlic. 4 revenue streams from a single planting. Most people think of garlic as a commodity, a mesh bag at the grocery store, $2, grown in China, shipped across an ocean, sitting on a shelf for months. That garlic has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Specialty hardneck garlic, varieties like music, with large cloves, intense aroma, and a complexity that stops chefs mid-sentence, sells at farmers markets and through direct restaurant accounts for $12 per pound. Sometimes more, not because of marketing, because it's categorically different from anything on a supermarket shelf. But here's what makes hardneck garlic one of the most financially elegant crops on this list. One fall planting generates 4 distinct revenue streams across the following year. Most backyard growers only capture one. Stream 1, green garlic. Early spring thinning pulls immature plants from the bed. Those pulled plants are a specialty salad herb. They sell immediately at spring markets to customers who have been waiting all winter. Stream 2, scapes. Hardneck varieties send up a curling, flowering stalk in early summer. You snap it off to redirect energy into the bulb, which you do anyway. But those scapes are a genuine delicacy. Mild, tender, moves fast at market. And they arrive during the late spring shoulder season when almost nothing else is ready. Stream 3, fresh garlic. Harvested midsummer at peak moisture and flavor. Highest per pound price of any stage. Sells out fastest at direct market. Stream 4, cured garlic. Dried for several weeks until the skins paper over and the cloves stabilize. Extends your selling season from midsummer all the way into winter. The spacing math from Rutgers research. At 6-inch spacing in a 4 by 8 foot raised bed, you're planting 128 cloves. Each clove becomes one bulb. At $12 per pound, bulbs averaging a quarter pound, that single bed grosses over $380 at full retail. 10 beds. Meaningful income. Occupying your ground during the quietest months of the year. Fall planting, winter dormancy, spring and summer harvest. Leaving beds free for warm season crops the rest of the time. Crop 7, gourmet vertical mushrooms. No soil, no seasons, no acre required. This is the one I promised you. Mushrooms are the only crop on this list that completely decouples your income from your land. Every other crop depends on soil, frost dates, and outdoor conditions. Oyster mushrooms need none of that. They grow on sawdust substrate in vertical hanging bags, stacked on shelving units inside a garage, basement, spare room, or shed. Your growing season is every season. The biological efficiency is unlike anything in conventional agriculture. Inoculation to first harvest, 5 weeks. A well-managed vertical system produces up to 25 pounds per square foot of vertical space annually, at $10 to $20 per pound through restaurant accounts and farmers market sales. Let that number settle. 25 pounds per square foot, not per acre, per square foot. The demand side is just as strong. High-end restaurants in every mid-size American city are actively searching for reliable local mushroom suppliers and cannot find them. Industrial supply delivers white button and cremini at commodity prices. Oyster mushrooms, lion's mane and shiitake, grown locally and delivered fresh. That's a completely different product category. One that executive chefs build menu items around if you can supply them consistently. Shiitake adds a second income layer to the same operation. Grown on hardwood sawdust blocks or oak logs. 6 to 8 weeks per cycle. $12 to $25 per pound at specialty grocers, Asian food markets, and through direct chef relationships. One basement shelving system running both oyster and shiitake simultaneously. Diversified, year-round revenue from a footprint most people currently use for storage. Startup cost, a few $100s. Spawn, substrate, basic humidity and air circulation controls. Temperature stability between 55 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit for oysters. That's it. Crop 8 Wasabi. The $150 per pound crop almost nobody is growing domestically. Authentic wasabi fetches up to $150 per pound, one of the most commercially lucrative crops in global agriculture, and almost no one in North America is growing it. The reputation for difficulty is real, but controlled environment technology has largely solved it. Wasabi's natural habitat: cool, shaded, mist-covered riverbeds in Japanese mountain ranges. It cannot tolerate heat. Above 77 degrees F, the rhizome becomes vulnerable to soft rot and fungal pathogens that turn it black from the inside, often undetected until a chef cuts into it. Outdoor cultivation in most of North America means gambling against summer temperatures that reliably exceed that threshold. Move it indoors. Hydroponic and aeroponic systems, low-intensity LED lighting, continuous air circulation, stable temperatures between 50 and 72 degrees Fahrenheit. The traditional 18-month harvest cycle drops to 12 to 14 months, while producing rhizomes with the flavor complexity restaurant buyers are searching for. The most capital-efficient entry strategy right now: retrofitting distressed indoor growing facilities, defunct cannabis cultivation spaces in particular, pre-existing HVAC, irrigation infrastructure, environmental controls. The build-out cost drops dramatically when the bones are already in place. The harvest timeline is longer than mushrooms or garlic, but at $150 per pound, with a domestic supply chain that is essentially non-existent. The grower who cracks consistent wasabi production holds a near-monopoly position in their local restaurant market. This isn't random. There is a precise logic connecting every crop on this list, and once you see it, you'll never look at a seed catalog the same way again. Every crop was selected through a 5-factor filter, developed by small-scale, intensive farming researchers, validated by operators actually running 6-figure microfarms. 1. Does it sell itself? Saffron, wasabi, ginseng, buyers already know what these are and what they cost. You are not creating demand. You are stepping into a lane where demand already exists and domestic supply is critically thin. 2. How fast does it turn? Every crop here either matures in under 60 days, baby ginger, mushrooms, garlic, scapes, or generates intermediate cash flow while a longer-term asset matures underground. Ginseng seeds sell while the roots are still growing. Bamboo cuttings propagate while established pots size up. The clock is always working for you. 3. What does it yield per square foot? Oyster mushrooms at 25 pounds per square foot of vertical space. Saffron generated nearly $20,000 from a single tunnel. Cut flowers producing the equivalent of $325,000 per acre from a 1,600 square foot plot in year 1. Stop measuring in acres. Measure in square feet, then stack those square feet vertically. 4. What is the profit per pound? Saffron at $3,500 per kilogram. Wasabi at $150 per pound. Wild simulated ginseng at $300 to $600 per pound. These numbers exist because you deliberately selected crops that industrial agriculture structurally cannot serve, hand labor requirements, specific microclimates, short shelf lives, conditions that don't scale to commodity production. Your limitation as a small plot operator is the exact reason these premiums exist and persist. 5. How long is the season? The most profitable backyard farms are not seasonal businesses. Garlic occupies your beds in winter. Baby ginger runs spring through fall. Cut flowers bridge summer and autumn. Mushrooms produce every week regardless of weather. Saffron arrives in the narrow autumn window when almost nothing else is harvesting. Each crop covers the gap the others leave open. Green City Acres proved a 1-3-acre plot running disciplined crop selection generates over $110,000 in annual gross sales. Jean Martin Fortier's 1.5-acre model, $150,000 gross, 50% net margin, $75,000 take home, with permanent raised beds, a walk-behind tractor, and one ruthless principle: cut every low-margin crop from the rotation. That's the 80-20 rule applied to farming. 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your crops. Cut the dead weight, the tomatoes, zucchini, and peppers consuming space and labor while selling at commodity prices at a table crowded with 20 other growers selling the exact same thing. Protect your highest margin beds the way a fund manager protects a winning position. Ruthlessly, without sentimentality. The growers generating 6 figures from backyard plots did not start with more land, more capital, more equipment, more agricultural knowledge. They started with a different question. Not what do I want to grow, but what does the market pay a premium for that nobody near me is currently supplying? That question changes everything. It turns a backyard into a production system, a hobby into an asset, afternoons in the garden into a business with real margins, real accounts, and real recurring revenue every single week. The 8 crops on this list are your starting point, not your ceiling. Saffron for the grower with patience and well-managed beds. Baby ginger for fast turns and high visual impact at market. Ginseng for the grower with forest access and a long-term mindset. Cut flowers for the grower building a brand and a loyal customer base. Bamboo for a simple, low-labor nursery model with a 10x return on input cost. Hardneck garlic for 4 revenue streams from a single fall planting. Mushrooms for year-round production from a garage shelf. And wasabi for the grower willing to solve a technical problem almost no one else is attempting, and capture a near-monopoly price as a result. Pick one, start this season. Not next year, not when conditions are perfect, this season. If this video changed how you see your outdoor space, hit like right now. 1 second. It gets this information to the growers who need it most. Subscribe for the deep dives, soil prep, market accounts, pricing strategy, and the exact infrastructure that turns these 8 crops into a functioning income stream. And drop a comment below. Which crop are you starting with and what state are you growing in? I read every single one. The path to a 6-figure backyard isn't complicated. Grow what the market is already desperate to pay for. Go plant something that pays.